customer doesn't send a perfect service request. They send a blurry photo. They send a 40-second video note or like a voice note. They send a short video describing their issue, pointing things, etc. with some weird noise in the background. And then they ask you, can you quote me on how much this is going to cost? That's the real front office problem for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, pest control, and almost every field operations company. It's just not someone like, hey, can someone answer this call? Or can after hours an AI receptionist can this answer a call? It's more than that, because rather than just answering it and giving them a rough range that hey, this is going to cost you like $500, that is not going to justify it. And truly AI native AI receptionist for HVAC, for plumber, for pest control, etc. Not only it answers users' question, but it analyzes the information, builds up the context, then does a estimate follow process, and then it books a job end to end. And this is why I just keep saying that in this video I'm not going to only talk about AI receptionist but an AI CSR, because AI receptionist might answer the call. AI CSR can actually do all of these things inside FieldCamp. So in the last video I talked about how FieldCamp's unified inbox brings all of these together through like a WhatsApp, SMS, call, website. All of it can come into one inbox. But what happens after that and how an AI CSR operates and what it can do, in this video I'm going to show you just that. So over here, if you see, an AI CSR has a decision making tree. So first of all, whenever someone is talking to it, or like just say it can be a voice call, person is just asking that hey, there's a leak in my washroom, can you come ASAP? Now behind that, a human's brain would actually think of 5 or 7 things like hey, it's 7 p.m. Josh is not gonna be here, XYZ, and then it's gonna process an answer to that user's question. Now an AI receptionist, for example like Avoca or ProBook or ServiceTitan or whatever it is that you are planning to use, what they do is it's more prompt based. Because first of all, let's say you're only using ServiceTitan. Now ServiceTitan, whoever has like the AI receptionist, it is not passing the context basically, because whenever you are booking something you need to have a context like what equipment is at this site. So I was talking to this customer and they told me that hey Jill, ServiceTitan's Dispatch Pro is great for booking jobs based on revenue, but 95% of the times when we book a job, we take the customer's history into account. That's when bolted tools like for example ProBook or Avoca, etc. come into picture. What they do is they use this ServiceTitan and then they make a wrapper around it and they are like doing voice agents or they are doing the front office, etc. But none of it is truly capturing the context. Now what FieldCamp does differently is FieldCamp's AI CSR or whatever you may call it, it's making organization's world model. What I mean by that is whenever inside FieldCamp, for example, a customer is talking, there is something called as memories. So every single time an AI CSR or AI agent does something for the customer, it remembers it, and then anytime next, for example, if you're going to see this later in the video, that whenever it's going to reply, it's going to remember that in the past we had talked to this customer in this way, for instance. So that is what a true AI innovation is called. Now, not only this, when an AI CSR or AI receptionist, for example, answers the user's question, where I had this one customer, he's like, hey Jill, what I want is I want AI to do the initial qualification for my meta ad leads. I was like, yeah, definitely we can do that. Where an AI agent, when a lead comes in, is going to message them or through using Twilio, and it's going to say, hey, you contacted us, please tell me how many, for example, XYZ windows do you have? Okay, they are going to answer, what is your name? You collect the details, and then he's like, anything less than, for example, 6 windows or 8 windows, I want AI to automatically do the booking because it's not gonna be worth my time to actually go on site and do it. But if it's anything more than 10 windows or 15 windows, I'm making money. So I don't care how long it takes. I'm gonna actually go on site and do some upselling. So when you have these kind of things, the AI CSR should be able to operate based on your pipeline of data which is there. Now, the reason why ProBook, Avoca, etc. cannot control this, because they can control the voice layer, they can make a very good voice layer, but they have no control over what the data model of the software, like how can they configure service title, how can they change it to match it to your flow. So how it works in FieldCamp now is, let's say in FieldCamp there is something called as request. Request is like your sales pipeline. Now in the sales pipeline, if I just do the Kanban view, there is a new request which came in. There is a pipeline like inspection scheduled, inspection complete, code created, code sent, converted, etc. Now because FieldCamp's data model and the entire software is customizable, we can change these stages and do something like a new request, then agent contacted, agent not contacted, or sorry, agent contacted, no reply. Then for, let's say, Josh attention. What it means is it's a high value lead and Josh is the customer and we require it's his attention, for instance. And then a code is created, code is sent, and it's finally approved. So the first thing to have a truly in AI receptionist or AI CSR who will actually respond to people and do the bookings, this is the first step in the process. Now the second step in the process is, for example, it should be able to not only talk to people, but it should be able to understand various things that people are going to send your way. For instance, in this case, I send it a video which is like an 18-second video, and I sent it, like, for example,
So I'm trying to see why this leak is happening. It seems like there is some.
So what I was doing was I was just trying to point over here that hey, there is a leak in my wall and it's the water is flowing and it's gonna touch the floor. Then the AI, without any prompt, it understood that what I was talking about. It understood the video. This is the first time that this has been done in the entire industry. So it understood the video, it understood what I was explaining while I was recording the video. And of course, this AI receptionist or AI CSR, we have trained it to be like a FieldCamp's like FieldCamp's assistant, which will describe to people what we do, like software company, etc., etc. So it just directly told the person that hey, you know what, that's very frustrating. We know that, we understand that, but we are just a software company. If you are a service company, you should talk to us about implementing something like this. It did upselling. So this is crazy. So first of all, like most AI in the industry, they would just be at this point and say that hey, sorry, I cannot help you with that question. Over here, it understood the person's frustration and then acknowledged that hey, while I cannot help you with it, but if you are a service company, you should be able to do that. And if you see the last line is something like, you know what, last time you were here, you were trying to book a diagnostic fee. Are you still interested? Where does that come from? So over here, now this is the second feature where I gave it a voice note and it actually understood my voice note. That is crazy. So it understood my voice note. It replied to me in voice note. And then it says, let's book a cleaning job, for example. I was just testing it. And then it suggested that, hey, these are the slots the team is available at, and it's going to go ahead and do the entire process. Now you can deploy this, for instance, at any single place. What I mean by that, it's online booking, phone, WhatsApp, email, anywhere you want, you can deploy that. And how is the booking logic powered? The booking logic has been mastered for last 1 year, where we are working with customers, where we have this online booking system based on the service area. Let's say Manhattan, I can say that I'm in this area on XYZ day, and then my team members are going to be this time, and I want to take bookings based on fixed time or arrival windows. And this logic is what powering the AI CSR. Now you can go one step ahead, because FieldCamp is an AI dispatcher. You say that hey, I want the AI CSR to operate the AI dispatcher and come up with a suggestion that is going to take skills into consideration, that's going to take routing, that's going to take various job types we do, every single thing. And that is a possibility today in FieldCamp. But this video was about how this AI receptionist and an AI CSR can accept various types of inputs and build a memory that hey, this customer has contacted us in the past. Now let's say that everything looks good, the CSR is working, but it needs to do one more thing. It needs to put it in the right place of your pipeline, like urgent Ryan contact, for instance, or it can be something like contacted, no reply, etc. That is where FieldCamp's agents come into picture. So what you can do is you can go one step ahead and you can have something like an agent. What it will do is it's gonna actually do things for you. It's gonna talk to people. If they don't reply, then they are going to also follow follow-up cadence, and then you can integrate the FieldCamp's workflow automation for doing something like, hey, if they don't reply in 3 days, message the sales guy to go and give them a call. Now all of this is a highly advanced setup, but FieldCamp is the only one software without adding add-ons or anything, with one context, one place for every knowledge of your, all the knowledge of your business, on which AI agents, AI CSRs, AI dispatcher operate on to build one customer profile. And all of this is accessible via Claude, via ChatGPT, through MCP, whatever you want. If you want something like this set up for your business, you should definitely get in touch with us. Thank you.